Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Pets Digest. And I'm Courtney. This week, I want to speak with you about bone broth for dogs, some things that you should know. The Pets Digest actually started around my dogs, Chi Chi and Cha Cha. Chi Chi had pancreatitis, and Cha Cha had some irritable bowel issues from time to time. It has now morphed into a health and lifestyle blog, but what I do is I take some of my blog articles that I've written and summarize them in really, really short videos for you guys. So, one of the main questions I get as a veterinarian is, can I feed my dog bone broth? Is it safe for them? And the answer is yes. If it is prepared properly, bone broth is very beneficial and safe for most dogs. So, some of the things that bone broth has been known to help with are joints. It's full of glucosamine, glycan, and chondroitin and hyaluronic acid. And these are all things that can help joints in both pets and people. It has been shown. It's also really nutrient dense. So, those are two things that really help. It's also been said that it's really good for the GI because of the gelatin. It can kind of help with leaky guts and things like that. And in humans, it's said more so allergies and food sensitivities and things like that. There needs to be a lot more research around dogs, though. So, a lot of these studies have been studied in human medicine. And like I said, there needs to be a lot more around pets, but most vets and people, holistic vets and things like that, are assuming that it will have some of the same properties in humans that it does in dogs. Another good thing about bone broth is that it's really low fat. So I, from time to time, would give it to my dog with pancreatitis. Like if I made it at home and I would give it to my dog with pancreatitis, and he loved it because he was on a very specific food. So I had to start cooking for him basically to get him to eat his food. So I would mix in some bone broth with his food, and he loved it. So where do you get your broth from? Like I said, I would make mine, but you can also purchase it from the store. A lot of times the store bought ones will come in powder form and you'll just have to hydrate them with water. You can also find bone broth available actually in many dog treats. It's in as a part of some of the dog treats. And you can also, again, make your own. What I would do is definitely use all organic ingredients and ingredients that are safe for your dog. So I wouldn't add any seasonings to your dog's bone broth, like no salt and pepper, things like that. I wouldn't add things like onions and garlic to bone broth. I know some pet parents do, but history has shown and research has shown that these like onion and garlic, they're in the alum family, and they can be harmful to dogs, or especially if they accumulate in their system, or especially if you have a really, really small dog. And another thing that you want to keep in mind when feeding your dog bone broth is that it's not a nutritionally complete meal. So you can't just give your dog bone broth and that's it. You have to also feed them dog food along with it. And if you do decide to make it at home, aside from not, putting any dangerous ingredients in it, you also want to make sure that you scrape any of the excess fat from your bone broth that can accumulate on the top. Just skim that off and make sure that you don't give it to your dog so that you can kind of decrease the chances of them getting pancreatitis or IBS or anything like that. And make sure that you do speak with your vet about it so that your vet knows, what's going on. I know as a veterinarian myself, I always ask people, what are you feeding your dog? Because that's a really important aspect of your pet's health. And I just like to know. And that way, it's in records and we're watching out for anything that may be detrimental. So always speak with your vet about it and tell them what's going on. If you want a lot more information about bone broth in dogs, and if you want bone broth um, a recipe, I have that in my blog. What I'll do is I'll link both the rest of the article in the description box, and I'll link the recipe in the description box as well. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I do hope that you will like it. I really hope that you'll subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week.